Good morning, great people. About to start our morning cardio walk and talk with a topic that kind of got sparked yesterday after I posted a long form video that's on YouTube, but I posted it to Facebook about what you should know about pit bulls before getting thumbnails. Kind of clickbaity, not so much, but it's just me with a pit bull generated. Pit bull's not looking like crazy or anything, but it definitely garnered a lot of attention. Very polarizing topic for people. People have been begging me to talk about is my stance on pit bulls. And I don't understand why people think that I should have a stance or an opinion on pit bulls, but I'm going to get into something that, again, is relevant to the topic that I've posted. So who should be blamed for dog attacks? Because somebody decided under the comments of that video on Facebook to post just like a gazillion screenshots of pit bull attacks. Pit bull, I say pit bull in quotations, right? Obviously they were attacks, but pit bull attacks on people. And it just got me thinking that there are a lot of people out here, and I know this because I've been around this space for some time now, that really just think pit bulls are the devil. People demonize breeds, people fantasize breeds, not knowing what they are, from both sides. People fantasize a breed and lie about it. They do that with pit bulls, and they say, oh, they're nanny dogs and they're this and that. They're not. Um, and some people act like they're the worst thing to ever be created and they should all die. And that's also not true. And so I wanted to come on here. We're on every platform this morning, so I'm hoping to get some comments. Um, I'm using a my StreamYard to stream to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm hoping to get some comments and some interaction during this conversation. But regardless, I'm going to talk about who should be blamed when dogs attack. I'm going to hop on the treadmill here in just a second. If I can get in, that'd be nice. Maybe it's too early. Maybe they don't want me in the gym right now. Maybe we'll have to just stay outside and walk, which is fine for me too. It's not a big deal. 8:11. Ought to be open by now. Well, we'll come back. Drop my things off in my car and come on back over here when it's open. That's insane. Not letting somebody in the gym at 8 o'clock in the morning. I want to be in here earlier than that. Okay, anyway. So, who should be blamed for dog attacks? Let's talk about a couple things. I don't really have an outline for this. I'm going to just be freestyling this from my knowledge of dog attacks and the things that contribute to them. We'll obviously talk about owners, talk about dogs, we'll talk about circumstances, we'll talk about breed behavior. And so let's talk about where it all starts. Let's talk about the dog before it ever comes to anybody's home or into their possession. Every dog was built to do a specific thing. For recently, for the last, few hundred years, that's where most of your dog breeds have come from. You obviously have dog breeds and land races that have survived for thousands of years, but most of the domesticated breeds that we see today, they were bred. They were selected by humans, and genetics were taken and built and molded into what we see today in our modern dog breeds. Your golden retriever, your Rottweiler, your pit, all these dogs, they were bred down to what they are today. So there was a problem that needed to be solved during whatever time period they came in. And for pit bulls, it wasn't really a problem from what I understand. The majority of history that you'll read about pit bulls, they came from blood sports, right? From bull baiting. So there was no problem to be solved. People were just wanting to get entertainment out of these dogs. So they bred the traits they wanted from different breeds to get the tenacity, the ferocity, or that we see today. So every breed being bred for a reason shows us that not every circumstance, lifestyle, situation calls for that dog. What I mean by that is if you live at home with little children that move around like little prey animals, maybe a dog that has extremely high prey drive should not be the dog that you bring home, especially if you aren't going to be able to fulfill that dog in any other way. Because what happens with dogs is they're going to end up taking out their energy and frustration on the next best thing. The next best thing is going to be your child at home. So doesn't look like we made it to Instagram, but it's all right. Um, you have to understand the dog that you get was built for a certain purpose in a certain place hundreds of years ago, possibly. So your life circumstance does not and should not involve that dog. Let's talk about people. We're obviously transitioning into people. People go and choose dogs obviously today based on aesthetics. I want a dog that looks like this. I want a big dog. I want a small dog. Every time people ask me, what do you think? What's the best big dog for? I don't care about the size of the dog. I'm not gonna give you a recommendation on a dog based on the size of the dog. I want a medium-sized dog that doesn't shed much and that's hypoallergenic. That's not a way you choose a dog. We're gonna get really, really candid here. That is not how you choose a dog at all. You don't do that. If you're making a decision to choose a dog like that, I need you to stop and reconsider why you even want a dog. Because what I like to say nowadays is we love the idea of dogs and we do not love dogs. You have an obligation as a dog owner, a guardian, whatever you want to call it, because all of my friends say something different. Whatever you want to call it, if you're going to bring a dog into your possession, you have the job and the responsibility of stewarding that breed, that individual dog that you have. And so you should not be making a decision not understanding what it was made to do. If you're telling me you want a big or small dog, you're already telling me you do not love what a dog actually is, and you want the idea of what a dog might do for you. That's obviously, for me, it's asinine. Maybe it's not obvious, but it is asinine to me to choose a dog that way. Choose a dog best for your lifestyle. That's going to be very redundant in this conversation today. But people are choosing dogs like that. Aesthetics, what size, hypoallergenic. I want a dog that doesn't, bark a lot or whatever it is. Then don't get a dog. It's that simple. But they do. Okay, so moving on. What happens is, let's go back specifically to pit bulls here. People choose the pit, the bully type dog. They stuff it inside the house because they believe, oh, they told me, or someone told me, or I read somewhere that these are nanny dogs. What do you think someone stops at when they're reading the description of a dog breed? I really would hope someone would comment here, so I can see them here. I don't know if we made it to IG. I'm gonna check real quick. Thank y'all. Hope you guys can. Okay. See if my camera back on. Man, I hope you guys can see me and hear me still. Headphones don't want to connect. Nothing wants to work this morning. Here we go. Okay. I think I'm back. Good. I can see myself.
Anyway, that's the comment that I'm looking for. I don't think they're reading the description at all. Good morning to my mom on YouTube. If they read at all, they stop at whatever confirms their belief. So when people are searching a dog, what is the best big dog for a family? A lot of dogs can be great big dogs for a family. Many livestock guardian breeds, many Molossers, Mastiffs, they can be great family dogs because they were bred to bond with their people. But when you say great family dog, what does that mean for your life? Does your family live on 100 acres in the middle of nowhere and you have no visitors? Then the Kangal, Anatolian Shepherd, that hopefully is going to be on your property guarding livestock and being with your family, then they'd be a great dog for you. But if your family lives in suburbia, if you live in the suburbs of Atlanta or Seattle or in the city somewhere, that's not going to be a great family dog for you because your family does not live a lifestyle conducive for what that dog was bred to do. Understand that genetics, lines, individual dogs vary. I've met Anatolians on the street that are really nice, but that's not what they were bred for. I'm all about preserving what a dog was bred to do and somewhat keeping it in that role. So someone, they stop wherever their belief is confirmed. Oh, I always knew this dog would be great. Okay, so I'm going to get it now because Google said, yes, the Neapolitan Mastiff is a great family dog. So you get a Neapolitan Mastiff, not knowing that they are, and I've heard this years ago, and it was confirmed to me even how they act. They are bite first, ask questions later type dogs. They don't even bark a lot. Neos that bark, I feel like have more Corso in them somewhere. But Neos, people that have real Neos, they don't bark. If you jump a fence with a Neo in it, in the yard, you're getting bit. They're gonna walk up to you, act like nothing's wrong. They're gonna bite you. Strangers that come into the house are gonna be greeted. I mean, it's not gonna be anything pleasant. I've trained a few. Again, one that I trained, I think he had a little bit more Corso influence in him, but he was also very young, wasn't very mature, so we became best friends. But not great dogs to be in a family house that has a lot of guests over. So people stop at whatever confirms their belief. What they don't understand as well is, and I wish that websites, Google AI, everything would add this. These are great dogs if, and the if is, if they're fulfilled. If the dog can be fulfilled, then the dog could be great. How do I know this? Every dog I've ever trained, once they were fulfilled mentally, physically, they were stimulated, genetically, appropriately, they did way better at home. This in full screen. So if you can get a dog like a pit bull and have it do pit bull things, then this dog probably could go back into your house with your small kids and be just fine. This brings me to a new thought. The pit bulls are bully type dogs that are out here that do great and never attack anybody. Again, remember, lines, genetics, individual dogs, temperaments vary. People can breed out traits in dogs. We do it. Can you take away drive out of a dog? Once it's there, no. But with the way genetics work, you can breed out certain tendencies and the desire for dogs to do certain things. Certain dogs may play fetch. Certain labs may play fetch and retrieve. But then you have field-bred labs that are absolutely psychopaths about retrieving. Right? So it's the difference between my dog doesn't mind going to play fetch and will chill out versus a dog that brings the ball back to you for 2 hours straight and hasn't stopped running. Two different dogs. One person can handle one, the other can't handle the other. So Once you've bred out certain traits, then you have this pool of dogs here. People go, oh, my pit bull is great. Again, uneducated people not understanding. Yes, your dog, your individual dog is great because of the traits that it has or doesn't have. So it was great for you and your lifestyle. The next person who wants a dog may not get out and go run and let the dog bite stuff and chase things like you did. So most people that I see that comment in my comment sections about these breeds, if they're educated and they're responsible, they tell people, you know, this is a great dog, but I had to put in a tremendous amount of work to get to where I'm at today with this dog. So this dog is not for a beginner. And they will say that. And I love that. I love those comments. Now, let's fast forward a little bit more to the situation that becomes a ticking time bomb for dogs before they bite somebody or attack somebody. One of the most common that we see is dogs that have pent up frustration. And that can look like a million different things. One of the most common ones where we see random people being attacked in communities, neighborhoods, on the sidewalk somewhere, is there's been a dog, but we'll talk about pits specifically for this example. A pit or pit mix of whatever variety is locked in a fence in somebody's yard because they don't ever take the dog out because they know that it's reactive as crap to every person and dog it sees. And so it's too much to walk that dog. Thanks for the comment, Kai. I'm reading it right now. Yep. So dog is pent up in the yard, never gets out. It's reactive. Owners think it's too much. So instead of rehoming the dog, because they love their baby, comes the humanization part, they just leave it in the back. It's fenced. It's not going to get out until it does. Well, what happens when a dog that has the full predation sequence baked into its genes, where it will see something, stalk it, chase it, bite to hold, and bite to kill, and consume, gets loose after watching child after child, person, adult after adult, dog after dog, walk in front of its house every day because the owners didn't want to do the things necessary to genetically fulfill this breed. It has to find an outlet. So every day it's trying to dig its way out. It's trying to jump at the fence. Dogs that jump at fences and get their heads near the top scare the crap out of me. Sidebar. Once they can get their head and their paws somewhere up close to the top of the fence, all they have to figure out is how to get high enough to pull themselves up. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you. Let me know what dog you got. You said you're a new owner. Dogs that can get up that high freak me out. I'm terrified. That's why. Oh man, unfortunately, on my walk this morning, I didn't get strapped up. If you know what I mean. I should. We got coyotes out here every now and again and loose dogs, but I guess I have to be all right for today. Anyway, sorry. Hate to lose my train of thought. Let's go back to the dog that finally breaks out. So now it breaks out. It has the full predation sequence baked in its genes. And once it sees someone that's going for a jog or the children that are playing, and then they see the dog, I want somebody to comment here for me. What happens when you are minding your business and you turn around and you see a pit after everything? Let's think about all the bad things you know about pits. You see the pit. What do? Mike, how would you handle that? I'm going to tell you in just a minute, but I want somebody to comment and say, what would you do? I'm walking on the green belt right now, but you turn around and there's a pit 50 feet away from you, probably running at you. What would any normal person do? Somebody please comment. I want to work off the conversation with you guys. I can obviously just say it, but I would love if somebody comment and said, what would the average person do? Thank you, Kai. They would run. So then you run, and a dog that has the entire predation sequence baked in its genes, what do they do when someone runs? They chase it. Mike said they would scream as well. That is the second part. They are running and they are screaming. Have you guys ever heard, if you guys hunt, especially those that might hunt with dogs, have you ever heard a prey animal get grabbed by a dog? It's trying to grab the invisible rock. Exactly. Now, I'm going to tell you guys what I would do in a minute. But have you ever heard a prey animal be grabbed by a predator? It sounds like a child running around screaming and playing. I've heard some really weird sounds come from animals. I mean, I've seen livestock, the goats, deer, other small game. It's like, I'm not going to mimic it because y'all going to laugh at me. But that sound turns a dog on even more. For those of you that don't know, a dog that has that real predatory drive, like it turns them on even more. And their whole goal is to shut it off. And once they shut it off, they know they've won. Meaning they're trying to kill whatever they got in their mouth. So for you, as a taller, maybe taller adult, you might be able to fight the dog off, but a kid is getting chomped on and getting thrashed around. I hate to be graphic, until they stop moving. And once they stop moving, the dog finally feels good about itself. So this is a real thing that happens. I mean, it's tragic, but it happens, seriously. All right, so let me go back to the question of what would I do. For me, number one, as I said, I don't know what y'all believe in, but if you're walking in an area where you know there are dogs like that, possibly, you know, there's a neighbor that keeps their dog chained up, fenced up, that barks at the gate, I'm strapped up all the time. This is the one time I'm walking without having my piece on me. Keep something on you. Bear spray, mace of some sort, a large walking stick. Keep it on you. Because if a dog ever runs up to me, I am standing my ground. I am getting big. Me, because I understand dogs and I have experience with dogs and I've been bitten in my line of work, so I'm not afraid to be bit. It just really, like, it's certain places you don't want to get bit. I'm not afraid to get bit though. But I am charging at the dog. This is still more sidebar from, it's in line with the conversation, but the question was asked what I would do. I am charging at the dog. Most dogs do not have the mental fortitude to go at another predator. I'm not calling you a predator, but dogs do have self-preservation inside of them. So if they're chasing you, back home we say, they think you're sweet. They don't think you're going to do anything to them. And they're going to chase you and bite you. If you show a dog that you have the ability to hurt them, they will probably think twice about trying to come get you, which is why they try to chase you when you're running away from them. If you run toward them, it's a whole different ballgame. Then you have to be ready to stand on that business once you charge at them if they decide to keep pursuing you. From there, what I would do depends on what I got on me and what kind of dog it is. Obviously, I'm not telling you to sit up here and bear spray a Chihuahua. I don't want you to punt it across the street. But if it's a pit, if it's a rot, I tell everybody, I am the dog lover. I won't even claim to be the biggest dog lover in the world, but obviously I know what I do for a living. I love dogs. Never let a dog be anywhere near taking your life because you matter more than a dog. Defend yourself. Do whatever is necessary to eliminate that threat to your body or to your kids or to a neighbor or whoever it is. Their life, a human life, is worth it. So, if there are no questions about that anymore, I'm going to digress for a second and go back to the pit bull that just broke out of its yard. Someone ran, they screamed, it chased them. It's biting them, it's thrashing. That's how it always looks. They're thrashing at them, dragging them, pulling them. And you have two outcomes. Someone either gets there, helps them out, dog comes off, or that person is severely mauled or killed, unfortunately. Now the next question is, where's the blame to be placed? I want to ask you guys, for those that are on, it's not many of you guys, but who is to blame for this? Because this is the whole premise of my conversation. This is actually the beginning of the conversation. Who is to blame for that dog getting out, chasing someone, mauling them, or killing them? Mike, I'm glad that you made it out of that. Some dogs know how to jump on cars. That one's always sketchy to me. I've always told people, if you can find a garbage can, the Herbie Kirby, that we call it, back in the South, get inside of a trash can if you can. If you have a child, put your child in a trash can if you can. You're pretty good in there if you can do it. Kai said the owners are responsible, 100%. So you and I know that, Kai. I think everybody on this call understands the owners are responsible. But what you have is media propaganda that has their own agenda that want to demonize certain dog breeds when the statistics or numbers get to a certain point where they feel like they're a problem. Because what we do as humans, we're delusional. We don't ever blame ourselves. The older I get, the more I realize that, which is why I got to stay out of politics. We are so delusional. We will not ever put any blame on ourselves. We will not take any responsibility. You see it everywhere around the world with every culture, every society, every problem. It's like, oh, we did this terrible, atrocious thing, but we're going to justify it in this way. I'm going to leave it at that. Let's talk about our dogs. I got a dog that nobody told me to get, right? Or here's what the outside world is looking at, because the person obviously is thinking like this, but the outside world is saying, oh, yeah, we've bred these dogs and we've allowed them to be here for so long, and we haven't restricted breeding. We haven't restricted people from getting certain breeds or having to be licensed for certain breeds or be educated about certain breeds. We haven't even required any of that, but it's the dog's fault. The first thing on the news is pit bull attacks, whatever, mauled, killed. I agree. So when I was a fireman, one of the first things that my lieutenant taught me back then, when I came into the department at 19 years old, he said, you need to be on your best behavior away from work. You don't put the uniform on, and take it off and leave work and think that you're not a fireman anymore, especially a fireman for, at that time, Clayton County. He said, because if you get into some mess outside of work, when they find out you're a fireman, the news headline will say, Clayton County firefighter. It's not going to say Jeff Green. It's not going to say Latricia and Jeff Green's son. It's going to be everything that can label me and create the most polarizing headline. So it might even say Black Clayton County firefighter at that if I were to get in some mess. That's what happens with dogs. And it sucks. Because they're not going to say uneducated owner of a breed bred for blood sports, decided to chain their dog up in the backyard and never mentally fulfill it. Let this be a warning, everyone. If you're going to get X dog, mentally fulfill it. Train it. Don't get a dog that doesn't suit your lifestyle. They don't say that. They blame the breed, which is the premise of the entire live this morning. The breed, the dog, is never to blame. Would you, there's a loose dog with its owner coming up. I think it's friendly. We're going to find out. It is a friendly dog. This guy right here, I think it's the guy with the dog who he lets swim in the river right here and chase ducks. It's a really good dog. Just I think it's a Brittany Spaniel. Anyway, you would not blame a lion if it was dropped off in the busiest park in your city and say, oh man, lions are just evil. They're just the worst thing ever because it killed people in the park and ate them. Yeah, it's kind of what they were built for. Yeah, they can't be domesticated as much as you might think they can be. They cannot be domesticated, truly. They will eat you when they're hungry. There are switches that can flip in their brain where they're just going to take people out. You're not going to blame the animal. And even then, there are certain cases where, of course, when we're talking about like wildlife conservation and attacks on humans, where animals will get put down because we know how they can respond once they find out that they can kill and eat humans. They become man eaters. They start to seek out humans to kill and eat. So certain animals will get put down for that. And so, yeah, like a dog that obviously kills someone, someone's going to get put down too. And that's suited for that animal if it's done that. But again, the dog still wasn't to blame. It was the people. You would not, I'll give you another analogy. If you knew that someone was a kleptomaniac, they steal everything, they got sticky fingers, would you tell them, hey, go to my room, in my closet, I keep all my jewelry in here, right? All my diamonds, my Rolly, whatever you got in there. I need you to go in my closet and grab a shirt for me. How much sense does that make? If you go in that closet and your Rolex is missing and your diamond studs are missing and your wife's pearl necklace is gone, who do you blame? Would you ever blame the person if you knew they were klepto? No, you would not. You would say, I am so dumb. Why did I do that? I should have known better. You're going to be angry, 100%. But as far as where the blame lies, you're never going to blame the person. You know that that was a dumb decision. My whole purpose of being here on this platform is to help people understand that they do not have to be oblivious to what their dogs are bred for. We have a thing called the internet. We have a thing called books. There's like a book on every dog breed, at least if it's popular. There are books on every breed. Read. If someone was a kleptomaniac and you didn't know, and you sent them to get something, you'd be mad at them. 100%. Because you didn't know. And so, of course, in that instance, you blame the person. How could you do this? These are my things, not yours. Why steal my stuff? But you didn't know. If someone lied to you about who they are, people can fool you. They can definitely fool you for a certain amount of time. And then you blame them for being manipulative, liars, whatever the case may be. A dog doesn't lie. Behavior doesn't lie. You can see a dog's body language if you start to learn about it. You can see them get agitated. You can see them flicking their tongue when they're stressed out, uncomfortable. You can see them position their bodies away from your children that are climbing on their backs. You can see them give whale eye, all these different behaviors. But we choose to get dogs and bring them into our home and know nothing about how they communicate. Mike said, but once you know, you change how you interact with them or deal with them. Absolutely. If you found out somebody was clipped up before they steal your stuff, then yeah, you just would never leave them alone near your things. You might not cut them off completely, but you would definitely maneuver in a way that they don't have access to your stuff alone. Back to dog communication. It's our job. I said it in the beginning of the live. It's our responsibility to be stewards of the dogs that we get. And so you've got to understand every breed was built to do certain things. Dogs can communicate flawlessly with each other, but all dogs communicate differently depending on their breed, depending on their genetic makeup and how they actually look. They communicate differently. I made a video about that, a short reel, but I'm going to make a longer either YouTube video or podcast about dog communication and what they can exhibit with conflict resolution. But all dogs communicate differently. Different colors of dogs are perceived differently by other dogs. All black dogs, especially if it's like a dog that's brachycephalic with floppy ears, they don't look the same as dogs that have a pointed snout and pointy ears, and they don't read them the same way. Anyway, getting into a lot of nuance there. It's your job to understand how your dog communicates, to find out the signs and signals that your dog may be stressed and may not be fulfilled properly. There are behaviors, we're going to go off on a little tangent here, that show you a dog is stressed or has been stressed, may not be suffering currently, but they have definitely been suffering at some point mentally, and it's called a stereotypy behavior. You see this in predators often. If you ever go to the zoo and you see predators in captivity, what you would notice is that the predators walk a line. If I could put my phone down for 2 seconds, I would show you exactly what I'm talking about. But they walk the same line back and forth, back and forth. They could be looking straight. A lot of times they'll literally look at you and they'll just walk. And then they'll look around, they'll walk. They'll walk the same line over and over and over again. Because once they're captive and they can't move freely, that's what they do. I couldn't tell you why they choose that behavior, but that is what they do. There are certain dogs, I'll give you a good example. When in daycare, exhibit stereotypy behaviors, and they are suffering mentally while they're in that environment. The Australian Shepherd, typically any herding breed that does real like herding work. Now your GSDs, German Shepherds, like, no, it's a job that they can do very well. It's not their sole purpose. But an Aussie in daycare, they will run the outer walls of the daycare. You put them in a fenced area that's not really big, they'll just run around the outside and they won't stop. They're suffering up here because they can't do what they're meant to do. It's our job to understand those things about our breeds. Now, again, where does one even know how to start looking for information like that? You don't. I know you don't. It's okay. That's why we're here, to teach about these things, to tell people or teach people how to actually go about choosing a dog so that these things have less of a chance of happening. Dog attacks have less of a chance of happening. That's one of the biggest missions of the Dogopedia. I don't have a website yet, but eventually you guys will see the backstory of why I started this. One of the biggest reasons is to obviously decrease shelter populations and euthanasias around America and then the world. Second is to decrease the amount of dog attacks. It's one of my biggest things ever. I am sick of people being attacked because other people were irresponsible. When you bring home a dog, like, I'm a huge fan of Marvel and all the different alternate universes. When you bring a dog home, like, you're opening yourself up for a new line in the what am I trying to say? What word is it? Oh my gosh. you're opening up the chance for a new branch, right, for your reality. Once you bring a dog home, there's so many things that could happen now that you bring a dog home. And so somebody down the road could be affected by your dog. You know, somebody who wouldn't have come in contact with you with a dog 3 years from now. Now you have a Rottweiler and you bring a dog sitter over, but your Rottweiler isn't very socialized with people. And the sitter comes over, they meet you and your dog. You think, oh, they're great. Okay, well, I'm going to hire you. And they come over by themselves and then they attack your dog sitter. That person it would have never happened to that person had you not got the dog 3 years ago and then you never trained it and socialized it. So we have to think about those things when we're bringing home a dog. Who in the future can be affected by this dog? And in what way? I've had a situation where I had to take a Cane Corso that was only a year old, 130 pounds, never trained. He was social with people, but he was super bonded with the dad of the family. Well, he got to a point where he started getting aggressive with people. The family wasn't liking it. They had little kids. He never knew his own size and his weight. And so I took him, had him for 6 months, tried to find a home for him, found a home for him. He bit that guy, came back to my house, and tried to get aggressive with my wife, person who was feeding him for 6 months, and ultimately had to get put down. These individuals, this family, had they thought about who could be affected later on, maybe something would have changed about how they brought up the dog, how they raised him, or if they would have ever brought the dog home at all. Spay neuter, I have a solo podcast episode about spay neuter. I will tell you this. I appreciate the comment. I think that it definitely has, not I think, it has its place in modern pet ownership. And I think people should, when age appropriate, get their dogs spayed and neutered if they don't plan on, and they shouldn't be planning on breeding it. But I want you to understand where spay and neuter came from. And again, I can't wait to drop the podcast episode. I'm actually just trying to get a lot of episodes filmed so you guys don't have to just get one episode and then like wait another month for a second one. So I'm in the process of filming multiple. I have guests, I have solo episodes, all the stuff coming for you guys. And then we'll drop season 1 of the Dogopedia podcast. Anyway, one of my episodes is about how America became the spay neuter capital of the world. Well, we were euthanizing millions of animals per year. At one point, the estimated number, and again, we can't really verify it, but the estimated number was somewhere in the ballpark of 13 million dogs and cats that were euthanized during the turn of the 19th century, 20th century, sorry. 19th? Am I slow? Early 1900s. I'm sorry. And it was insane. Dogs, cats running rampant all around New York, because New York is where it was really bad. They were taking dogs, dogs and cats, putting them in giant metal containers and like crates and drowning them in the river. That's what we were doing. And so spay neuter became a thing of the ASPCA could not do it all themselves. And they figured out if we can get people to take ownership for what we're experiencing publicly and feel like they're doing a good thing and taking part and bringing down the euthanasia rate, then that could catapult them into a place where that rate could go down tremendously. And so it was then got Bob Barker on TV and spay neuter your pets, and that was just being pushed everywhere, in vet clinics and shelters, just everywhere. Because people then took an individual approach to the problem. But only in recent times have we been able to start really studying the long-term effects of removing a dog's sex organs early. Because at one point, and still some vets push today, oh yeah, spare before the first heat. Why would you do that to a mastiff or medium-sized dog? To any dog. If we understood, because I do, hope you guys do, if you understood what happens to your body after your sex organs are removed, and it's not that like, well, they're just animals, and it's like it's whatever. Well, that animal again is gonna affect different people across its lifetime. And a dog that doesn't have its gonads, that then becomes aggressive, because guys, aggression does not come from having sex organs at all. If they become aggressive, irritable, have a low tolerance for stress, their threshold for stress is very low. They get agitated and they bite people because they can't regulate. They can't come down from any type of traumatic event. They can't settle. These are all things that happen from dogs being desexed. Not to mention the physiological effects. Growth plates not closing fully. Dogs having all types of joint problems, hip problems. Obesity rates skyrocket in dogs that are not spay neutered. I mean, that are spay neutered. So anyway, not to get off on a tangent on that, but yeah, can't wait to show you guys or give you guys that podcast episode, because it's really good, talking about where that came from for America, for pushing everyone to spay neuter their pets. So belongs and pet ownership. When is the question? Responsible ownership is the best way to prevent unwanted litters, strays, surrenders. If people just stop getting dogs they don't need, that would change it all, but it's not going to happen. So, guys, I'm coming to the end of my TED Talk here. I hope that I was able to coherently express my thoughts on who's to blame for dog attacks. Ultimately, to put a pin in it, it's the owners. And what we have today is the media that will, when it's beneficial for them, demonize certain breeds because numbers get inflated, like pit bull numbers get extremely inflated. If a dog looks anything like a pit bull, excuse me, sorry, they will call it a pit bull. They're not going to take the time to differentiate between an American bully, a Staffordshire Terrier, an XL bully, a standard, a European bully. Is it a Cane Corso? Is it a Dogo Argentino? If it's a Dogo Argentino, if it's a Corso, if it's a Presa, I don't care, bro. They're calling it a pit bull. There was an attack by two Corsi, and I remember looking for the article. I kept trying to find out what breed of dog it was for a specific attack, and they never determined what dog it was. You know what they said? They said it was a bully or pit bull type dog, but I had heard something about it being a Corso. This is what they do. They do not care about our dogs. We try to forget the history that brought these amazing dogs to us. We refuse to educate people on a grand scale about what these dogs are for. And again, I know it's redundant. That is why the Dogopedia is here. I am creating this because I want people to be able to go to a place on the interwebs and say, I want to learn about this breed, and I want you guys to be able to get accurate information that you can use reliably to choose the best dog for your life. I want people to be de-influenced by a dog they may want if it does not fit their lifestyle. I want them to go, you know what, I watched one of the Dogopedia films and I realized that dog is not for me. Kai, I love this. I want to read this out loud. I think if you surrender an animal multiple times, you should be registered somehow. So when you try to purchase an animal again, you should have to show what has changed in your life to be able to take care of that pet so it doesn't keep happening. I agree. As dog lovers, we feel that way. But the government does not. Your local municipality does not. They don't care about dogs. The people that work in animal welfare, I'm not saying people that work animal control and shelters and humane societies, they all do. And there are lobbyists out here that try to push for these things, but the government The people that it doesn't affect, they don't care, unfortunately. So it's up to people like us to educate, to use this great tool called the internet and teach people about these dogs. Because most people, guys, most people are researching, they're looking things up. Like, most people are not just getting dogs without ever even typing it in on Google. So if we can get the information out and it can rank high, it's as simple as it is. If it can rank high enough, then the right information can be shown to people who are looking. We will talk about Vizslas at some point. I don't have a ton of personal experience with them, but they are great dogs. I've met a handful. They're great. Everybody loves them that has them. I never heard a bad thing about a Vizsla at all. But thank you guys. For those of you that jumped on and have been with me for 51 minutes, I really appreciate it. I'm going to go work out now. And I'll be traveling this week. Next time I may be live might be on Wednesday night. I will be back on the East Coast in Atlanta, Georgia. So I may be on live Wednesday night, sometime Thursday and Friday before I come back to Seattle. If you guys ever have any questions, please DM me. I pretty much read all of my DMs. I'll respond when I can. I love to have conversations with you all. I love to shoot voice notes over to people. So if I don't text back, I shoot a quick voice note. But I'm excited about what we're building. Upcoming projects, I'll try to end every live talking about upcoming projects from now on. I want to create some kind of format to how I do these, but upcoming projects that we have, October will be in London. I'll be a podcast guest with the young lady who started London Dog Week. She's really big out there. She started a therapy dog business as well. Has over 100 dogs to do therapy work and their owners. And we'll be shooting some individual films on some very influential people in the dog sport world over there, as well as possibly a few breed documentaries that come from Britain. So I'm excited to go to London. In November, we'll be in Thailand doing 2 breed documentaries and a street dog dynamics film as well. The 2 breed documentaries will be on the Thai Ridgeback. Very, very primitive looking dog. Really cool, really hardy dog. Not for the average person at all, but I'm excited to bring that to you guys. Also on the Thai Bangkok, which is a beautiful dog as well. And then Street Dog Dynamics, for those of you that don't know, another branch of the Dogopedia outside of breed docs is documenting societies that live amongst free roaming dog populations. How do those societies work? When they work well versus when they don't. When you have communities that feed these dogs, take care of them, don't bother them, and the dogs come and go as they please, versus communities like Morocco right now that are killing dogs left and right. They plan on killing millions before FIFA 2030. They're poisoning them, they're beating them, they're torturing dogs. Why do these communities exist this way? Is what Street Dog Dynamics will uncover. So 2 projects that will, take me through my entire life of doing this, because there's so much to uncover there. December, we're back in Italy. I'll be there for an engagement for a cinema award ceremony, but we'll also do another breed documentary on the Lagottai Shepherd, which is a herding breed that is from Italy, that is not a recognized breed. Most of you've never seen it. Part of me doesn't want to do the breed documentary because I don't want people to just want the dog because of how good it looks. It's a beautiful dog that does great work, but that is soon to come. So I'm excited for the next few months before we slow down tremendously. For those of you that don't know, I still work a day job in aviation. I will be a flight attendant very soon. I don't say who I work for on the interwebs, but I'll be training for 2 months in Atlanta before moving to Nashville. Once I get that move done next spring, we will be traveling again. So we're putting together as much content as we can so that while I am indisposed, you guys still have good content coming. And we can continue to meet the need of our follower base. So with that, guys, I appreciate you. Hope to see you guys on the next one. Until next time, peace out.